Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for the Expanse, Season 6, Episode 3, Force Projection. This video is part of a series of videos where I view episodes of the Expanse, so I'll have to start with a spoiler warning for the Expanse up to Season 6, Episode 3. If you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So, goddamn, this is a great episode. I really love this episode. So, first of all, we get Avasarala and the UN and Martian fleets arriving at Ceres. First of all, I want to say the Martian commander that Avasarala is talking to in this adventure here is the same one that we saw back in season 3, who was the smart captain who realized when the not to attack the UNN ships when they were fighting amongst each other, and instead of reached out to those that were friendly to Mars. So it shows that she's a smart woman and a good captain. So it's great seeing her again here, and I hope we see more of her. But it does make me feel good that she's the one leading the charge for Mars, because we know that she's a smart and good captain. Anyway, they arrive at Ceres and there's nothing there. Everyone just surrenders, and they were expecting a fight, but there's no fight. And when they interrogate the Ceres runner, Sandrani, they discover that Marco stripped Ceres of everything, all food, water, supplies, everything, and they're going to add everyone, like thousands of people who live there, or it wasn't even millions, I think, are going to die in like 3 weeks unless they get more supplies. So they learned that this was Marco's trick. This was his trap to force them to either use time and resources in order to feed the people of Ceres, something that he himself is too lazy to do, or he can, if they refuse to feed them and the people of Ceres die, then he can paint Earth and Mars as killers and use that to rally more troops to his cause. And I love how Avasarala calls that out when someone else is like, oh, you know, Marco would never feed our people, why should we feed his? And she points that out. She's like, well, if we don't feed them, we're just gonna, Marco's power will grow, and he'll just, more people will go to his cause. She's exactly right. And plus, you know, as they say, it's the right thing to do. But that was Marco's strategy, was to sort of, you know, and instead of him having to take care of all those people, he just like, well, fuck that. It pins it off on Earth, and that also slows them down while he goes off and does other things. And then later we see that we get a little newscast of the thing, and this is actually, we get this in the drummer storyline, but they mention it here where it's Pastor Anna making a nice cameo back from season 3 that Monica Stewart elicited her help in making the video, the report about the suffering going on Earth. And Avasarala thought that she was quite effective, and so she allowed Monica Stewart to get embedded with the UNN Marines going on Ceres Station to feed the people. And I sort of love this scene where one of the Marines speaking Belter, and he's being really nice and handing out supplies, and this other Marine is a bit of an asshole. It's like, oh, I thought we came here to kill these people, not help them. And of course, Monica, you know, got that and made the remark, oh, don't worry, we can edit that out, which is cool. It was kind of funny. And of course, the other Marine was just like, asshole. And it kind of shows the different, you know, the different, not all the Marines are like exactly the same. They're different people, and they have different feelings on the issue, and one's actually quite sympathetic to Belters and wanting to help them. But then a lot of explosions go off. Now, I'm hesitant to call it a bomb because we don't really know at this stage what it is. But of course, Monica Stewart was off, ran off looking after this other belter who was, cold and didn't have a blanket. And so she was separated at the time when the explosions went off, so her fate is as of yet unknown. So this is going to be really interesting to follow up on this storyline. What caused these explosions? What were they? Were they bombs? Or was it an accident? And what happened to Monica Stewart? Ooh. So that's interesting stuff. So then we also get a bit with Drummer. She's she's making her plans with Walker, I believe his name is, and two ships that were former Golden Bow that he knew showed up and ready to fight for her, and they're making their plans on their attack. Meanwhile, Michio is watching that newscast that Anna did, and Joseph was like, poor Earthers. Now they know what it's like to be Belter. They don't know where their food and water comes from. Well, welcome to the Belt. And I remember seeing that in the trailer, and I thought, so that's kind of where Drummer's crew is at. They're like, screw the Earthers. However, they're actually split because Michio thought that was quite of an asshole thing to say, similar to what the Marines being like, just because what we suffered, that means it's all good for us to cause the same suffering in Earthers, and saying that it's us, the Belt, that causes all the suffering and harm. So it's because I discussed this before of what last week when they first mentioned Monica Stewart's project to elicit sympathy in the Belt, and I discussed whether or not it would elicit sympathy, and I sort of predicted these two different outcomes. One where the Belter is like, why should I feel sorry for you? Because you was causing all this suffering in the Belt, and now all of a sudden you're suffering the same way, and I'm supposed to care. Where on the other hand, we get Michio has the other response that I speculated would be the case, whereas all suffering is wrong, and it's not okay for the Belt to cause all this suffering on Earth. It doesn't make us good people. And I love that argument. They start arguing amongst themselves and even pissing Drummer off because she's trying to talk to Walker about plans. It's like, what's going on? What's the problem? And they're like, oh no, we're just having a difference of opinion. And I love that Michio is sticking around, by the way. I love that, actually. So I'm really curious to see where this storyline's going to go. I was really disappointed in episode 1 when they're talking about getting rid of her, but because Walker is staying to help participate in this attack, it's going to be really cool. So anyway, let's jump back to the start of the episode, where we get our signature Strange Dogs short story. We get it does seem like it's going to be an ongoing thing where we get a different scene in this story at the start of every episode. In this episode, we see the young girl Kara going to school, and there's a former Martian Marine who is now like a Laconian. He's making it clear we're all Laconians now. They're the splinter Martian group that colonized the world. And he, is trying to tell the students, if you see anything wrong, anything off in that you haven't seen before, let us know. Now, the reason why he's saying this is because they had just commenced. They powered up a lot of the protomolecule technology on the planet by using the protomolecule samples. So they wanted, anyone who lives there, and natives, kids are already there, to warn them if they see anything, any side effects of this. Now, Kara doesn't bring up the strange dogs, which she had never seen before until just recently. Is there a correlation there? And but she doesn't mention that, and instead we see her young brother, and they're talking about playing soccer, and she's like, I'm just going off, you can't come with me, and she goes off in the woods to try to look after the baby birds whose mother died. But when she gets there, she sees that drone that she was so upset broke, and it's back in working order. And then she looks over, and the birds are okay too, and the mother is back, and she sees the dog, the strange dog, sort of cooing in the background, and she concludes, "Oh, you brought her back. You fixed it." So she assumes that the dog fixed the bird because the dog took the bird away. We thought we were going to eat it, but instead, this brought it back to life. And also the drone, apparently. So what's up with that? But anyway, when Kara returns to tell her parents the good news, they're crying, and her father hugs her, and she sees that her younger brother has died. Now they don't make it clear. I don't think it's a spoiler. They don't really make it too clear in this episode, but I do know from reading a short story, unless the show changed it, but I'm pretty sure it'll be the same, that her younger brother died in a car accident, because we saw it was kind of the Chekhov's Jeep. We saw in the last episode where the Laconians, the soldiers, were driving the Jeeps, and apparently one of them hit the younger boy while he was playing soccer. So yeah, that's quite a sad, tragic thing. But of course, the story's not over yet. And we'll wait till the start of the next episode to get the next piece in this story. So anyway, we also get Marco, good old Marco and Philip, where he's starting to, they've abandoned Ceres, and Philip is quite pissed off about it. He's watching Belter nude feeds. I should add, not inner news feeds, that are painting Marco as a coward. They mentioned that a scientist on Ganymede was shot, accused of being a traitor, and this news feed doesn't seem that favorable to Marco, and talk about how he abandoned all the people in Ceres. So Philip is obviously pissed off about it. He goes to Marco, but Marco doesn't care. He's like, "Well, why do you care what dissidents think?" So he gives Philip this song and dance about how he's great, and he carries the Inaris name. He's going to take over for him and be a great man, and then they hug, and everything seems to be okay. Until we get into the bit with the Rocinante. He's flying somewhere else. He has other plans, but all of a sudden he happens to see the Rocinante. So against Rosenfeld's recommendations, he decides to go attack the Rocinante with his 3 ships, something that Rosenfeld was very much against. And as I'll get to more in the Holden storyline, when I get to that, they get their asses kicked by the Rocinante, and then Marco, of course, he's an ass about it. He blames Philip, but Philip rightfully points out that it's his fault, because he should have won after the Rocinante, that he was doing it just out of his pride, which he is absolutely correct. Mark, it was a thing with pride with him where he had to kill the mighty James Holden, and of course he relieves Philip of duty because he doesn't like being challenged or told the truth that he's an asshole. But we see Marco go off to his quarters, and he gets a message from Medina Station in the Ring Gate saying that another ship has been sent through the Laconian Gate, and if it's just as good as the last one, it's going to be great for their purposes. Now, I don't mind telling you, this is a massive change from the books. This has not happened in the books, but I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm actually saying that as a good thing. It makes me really, really curious. I actually love that it's not in the books, because I don't know what's going to happen with it, because this storyline wasn't in the books. So I'm just like, where are they going with this? This sounds awesome. So I can't wait for that. Anyway, let's go back to the Rocinante. So, God, there's I absolutely loved like everything about this. Everything that took place in the Rocinante, I thought was pure gold. First of all, we got the scene with Holden and Clarissa, and it was just such a beautiful scene. And I have put down Nadine, I believe her name is, the actress who plays Clarissa. I put her down before and called out some bad acting that I saw in season 5, and I'm not taking that back. I stand by it. But I will say that this was really well acted on her part. This is actually a case of, she impressed me with her acting here. It was actually a really, really well acted scene. And she carried most of the scene, to be fair to her, about where Clarissa was talking about how she's feeling worse after her mods. And this is something Ty Frank talked about, the showrunner / co-author of the books. This is something, well, he's not a showrunner, he's a producer. Narayan Shankar's a showrunner, sorry, I misspoke. He's a producer, writer of the show, plus one of the authors of the novels. Anyway, he mentioned that Clarissa's mods are like degrading over time, that they were never meant to be inside of her for long-term use, like they're actually illegal because they're so harmful to people. And she had never intended to survive past the incident in the ring gate, so she never planned on having them this long. And it's degrading, and it's being worse, and it's making her sick. And so the fact she used it made it worse. But she also talked about the emotional toll using the mods took, and it was such a powerful scene. Call back to season 3 where she used it to kill Ren, who was actually a really good guy. And how she says that every time she used the mods, she sees his face, and at the moment she killed him, and that's what makes her vomit. God damn, that was so powerful. And I love Holden's reaction to that, where he's really warming up to her and being like, we all have stuff that we regret. And so that just makes you more part of the crew. I mean, it's such a powerful, tearful moment. I almost teared up at this, especially, and she ends it with saying that, I have to watch. Like, such a good scene. So then we get another great scene with Holden and Naomi, where Naomi sort of confesses of why she got so shell-shocked, and she feels embarrassed by it. But of course Holden is trying to reassure her there's nothing to be embarrassed about, that he completely understands, and he really tries to comfort her. And I love that he gives her the mystery of the missing ships, the ships that are disappearing, and when they go through the ring gate, as a distraction. He's like, you're just giving me something interesting to investigate, to distract me, aren't you? He's like, yep. And he's like, okay, good job. And they kiss. Like, again, lovely scene. Absolutely love that. And then we get a lot of bonding with Bobby Draper and Amos in this episode. Yeah, God damn it, I love it. It's so good. And they have, of course, that sort of playful adversarial relationship where they're both kind of like putting each other down and shit. And this is continued in the if you watch the bonus scene for this episode, the X-ray. Which apparently was written by the actor who plays Amos, Wes Chatham, and that was really good too. It's like a continued sort of this playful banter between Amos and Bobby. It's so good. God, I love that they're building these, because this is one advantage to Alex having died, because in the previous seasons, I feel like whenever Bobby was relating to anyone on the Rocinante, it was always just Alex. She always just hung out with Alex. So it's great seeing her hang out with other members of the Rocinante, particularly Amos, and the sort of reaction that they have for both being badasses, and they're trying to one-up each other. Like, it's great. I absolutely love it. And, of course, both the actors play this very well. So, then we also get Prax, our second season 3 cameo in this episode. Prax calls Amos and tells. I love how he goes through all this science jargon, and Bobby and Amos just standing like, what the hell is he talking about? And Amos is like, don't worry, he'll get to it eventually. But basically, that he's discovered this method that could actually be very helpful in feeding Earth and saving a lot of lives on Earth after the devastation that they're suffering, but Marco's people will not let him get this information out, and so he reveals that scientist who was killed as a traitor, it was because she was trying to get this information out, and so that's why he had to hide it super secretive and be careful about it, to hide it. And Bobby's, Amos talks about how he has a family and everything else, his own things to worry about, yet he goes out of his way to help these people on Earth, even though it means nothing to him personally, and just saying, well, he's a good guy. And again, this is a powerful scene. I love that. It's a good callbacks for Prax. Now, another thing Ty Frank said in an interview was that one of the things that got cut from the original outline of season 6 to the shortened version, when Amazon informed them there would only be 6 episodes, they said that the main thing that got cut were they were actually doing 2 ongoing storylines with Pastor Anna and Prax, but because of they had to shorten it, they had to reduce it to cameos rather than their own extended storyline. So I'm assuming this is the only time we're going to see Anna and Prax, which is a shame because we barely saw Anna. She was just on this TV screen. But maybe we'll get another cameo. I don't know. But I don't know. I thought Prax's storyline, he had several chapters in the novel, and I thought they were really boring, and they were my least favorite. So, as much as I like the relationship with him and Prax, I think this cameo is all you need. Maybe another scene to follow up if they want to do it, but we don't actually need that whole storyline, so I'm not actually sorry that went. And that's stuff I would have liked to see more of, but, whatever. That's fine. So, anyway, this is when Marco shows up to try to destroy the Rocinante, and god damn it, this is such a good space fight here. I talked about the space battle last week, but this one is even better. It was super intense. There were these 3 massive ships that completely outgunned the Rocinante, and yet they still managed to defeat them. And I totally bought it, and I love how they did that, the flip it around, and I used the railgun, and then Bobby came up and wanted to actually fire the weapon, and seeing her and Holden side by side in the pilot and co-pilot seat was awesome, and how they realized that Marco was always dodging at the port, so they came up with a plan to hit him when he dodged. And it worked, and they disabled the pellet. But then we got the scene. God, I fucking love it. It's one of the most powerful, heart-wrenching scenes. Is seeing. I didn't realize how powerful this was going to be, but seeing Marco and Holden face to face. Marco being as indigent as ever, saying James Holden, and I think it's clear that Marco purposely moved to the side, he did it on purpose. He was completely blocking the scene, but he's let me move to the side so that Philip could be seen, making it clear, well, hey, you kill me, you're killing Philip. And then Naomi was watching this too. You could see Naomi's reaction after seeing Philip, and god damn, it was so powerful. And how Holden wanted to talk him down, and Bobby wanted to destroy him. So when Marco made it clear that he wasn't going to surrender or back down, Bobby fired the missile that would destroy him. And god, that was such a powerful moment when Naomi was closed her eyes because she was certain that was going to be Philip's death, and she just made her peace with that. But Holden disabled the missile. And you can get pretty well guarantee that the reason why he did it is to spare Philip, because he knew the effect this would have on Naomi, and he couldn't do that to her. And that, again, this was Marco's plan. He is a intelligent but completely immoral asshole that he's willing to use his son like that, and it worked, and Holden wasn't able to do it. And I do wonder, because Bobby didn't know, she was like pissed off that the missile didn't go off. She wasn't aware that Holden disabled it, and I wonder if she's ever going to find out, because that, of course, would create tension. But I think Naomi's going to find out. I think she's going to realize that he purposely disabled it because to spare her. But God fucking damn it, that was such a powerful scene, man. So my rating for Force Projection, it's funny because the title always makes me think of like Star Wars, like the Force Projection. But anyway, like Obi-Wan Kenobi is a Force Projection. But anyway, my rating for Force Projection out of 10. God, I'm gonna give this a 10. I'm gonna give it a 10. Fuck it. I think I was torn between a 9 and a 10. But I think this deserves a 10 the best. It was just an amazing episode. This season just keeps getting better and better. Like that I think the main thing that pushed it into a 10 for me, because most of the episode was a 9, but the thing that pushed it into a 10 was a scene with Marco and Holden and then Naomi seeing Philip. Like it was just so good. It was just so powerful. It was such an amazing episode, and I just can't wait for the rest of the season, because I know it's just going to up it and up it. God damn. It's so good. Anyway, that is it for my review of Season 6, Episode 3 of The Expanse. But wait, there's more! I will be, as always, every week be joined by Darren from D's Reviews as we talk about this episode live, in a live discussion. Of course, also joining us this week will be my sister Alyssa, once again, who also joined us last week. So the three of us will be talking about this episode in a lot more detail. Usually we do it Saturday nights, but because Saturday just happens to be Christmas Day, which some people have to celebrate Christmas, so we're going to be doing it the day after Christmas. Those in UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand would refer to as Boxing Day. But anyway, we'll be doing our live discussion Sunday night instead of Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out there, and be sure to check us out as we go even deeper into this wonderful episode. So that's it for this video, but be sure to check out my other videos for The Expanse. I, of course, will be back every week to go over The Expanse until the bitter end. I don't want it to end. It's so good. But, I realized, part of me realizes the reason why it is so good is because they condensed it into 6 episodes. If they didn't, there would be more filler, and it wouldn't be quite as good. So, but anyway, be sure to check me out for that. Also, check out my channel as I cover many other shows, such as all things Star Trek, including Star Trek Discovery, and other shows like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.